G'day, I'm Costa Zulia and you're on The Breakdown. A lot has happened in the last 25 years. Many things have changed over the years. I don't think many things have changed as much as probably photography and the importance of something like photography, because now it's in our everyday life. It's everywhere. Everyone's got a camera in their pocket. And I guess for people like Joe Bell, who have been documenting what's been happening around the Brisbane music scene for the last 25 odd years, things have changed a lot. So what have you seen, Joe? And welcome to The Breakdown.
To some extent, I feel a bit like one of those everyone's a photographer people, because I'm self-taught, and so my work is different than people who've come through a traditional, degree trained.
Like a tertiary path, yeah.
Tertiary path, yeah, because I did other things. But I think everyone's got a hot take now, and with the increased use of AI as well, it's a completely different ballgame now. But I think that there are some really fundamental things about photography that have been true since the beginning, and you've got to be there, you've got to see what's important, you've got to notice the micro expressions and the emotions and the feelings, and you've got to identify what's important, and you've got to capture that.
Though I guess there's a little bit more room for error now too, isn't there? Because
you delete
when you're shooting 24 or 36 films, in an analog camera, and then it cost a lot of money to go and get it developed,
sure did.
Or you did it yourself, which would cost a lot of money as well. And the filters and all those sorts. Now you can blast off 20 shots and pick the best one or best two of the same thing in like 5 seconds, can't you?
And to some extent, that means that it depends on whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that we've reduced the barriers to entry into photography as a means of creative expression. Like, I don't think that we lose anything by having more people document their expression, their feelings and their experiences. But yeah, the craftsmanship, I suppose, it's a completely different ballgame. And there are plenty of old school kind of photographers who are purists about the high level equipment and the technical precision of images. But for me, it's about the feels. I think if you capture the feels, and if you capture the zeitgeist and the moment, and you can share that with people who weren't present to experience it, I think there's cultural value in that, whether or not it's a technically brilliant shot.
Just recently on Facebook, you've been documenting, sharing with some of the stuff that you've documented over the years, and what you've shared about, a dozen or so different bands? It's mainly been Brizzy bands?
Yeah, I haven't actually. I probably ought to document the number of things, but look, to some extent, I've just kind of decided that now's the time to do this, and I've just leapt in and started. I think with anyone that does anything creative, the first step is always just allowing yourself the permission to just start and be a little bit shit for a while if you have to, and just start, and then things will take shape after that. So that's what I've done. I've started just pulling images out of my archive and trying to tell stories around those images. And I've been trying to select them in an order that has some contemporary relevance, like a message of appreciation for an artist who might currently need it, or just acknowledging key contributions to the cultural landscape, whether or not those artists have experienced fame or commercial success. There's so much work to do in that space. I've got such a massive archive. I haven't started necessarily from the most important work or the best work. I've just started.
Yeah.
And we'll just move through this journey, and I'll just try to cover everything as I go.
What's taken your ear or your eye as far as what you want to include in this retrospective?
Hindsight's the 2020 thing, right? So I'm not necessarily telling things in chronological order or even most important stuff to begin with. I'm trying to build a bit of a loose narrative, but allow myself room to adjust to what might become timely to share.
How did you end up getting into it in the first place?
When I went to uni, left the farm and went to uni, I was studying journalism and law, and multiple complex reasons for that. Ended up focusing on law after I finished both degrees. The law took longer than the journalism degree. But I always wanted to write. I wanted to do journalism. That's my preferred style of writing. Some of my favourite writers are journalists, particularly science journalists, but also a lot of Australian political journalists. But I got a bit distracted doing the law for a while because essentially I needed to fund my photography habit. So as you mentioned before about the film costs and the camera costs and all of those barriers to entry, that was what my day job paid for. And during that time, I taught myself photography kind of as an add-on to the journalism idea. Like, I briefly entertained thoughts of becoming a foreign correspondent, but then I realised that they were all getting shot at. Yeah. And I shouldn't laugh, but it's because it's awful. Yeah. But yeah, once I realised that, I'm so much more of a homebody than that. I just started documenting where I lived. I was always drawn to the music aspect of it, so that just seemed like a natural thing to start documenting. And it kind of just went from there. When I quit my day job in 2000, I co-founded Brispop, which was like a music community featuring Brisbane-based original artists, expanded later to include all genres across the state, and a bit of northern New South Wales, just sneakily. And I ran that myself from about 2000 as a sole trader, and kind of off that I've hung my writing, photography, publicity, event production. I ran years and years of content at Brisbane Powerhouse doing original live music there, and artist support services, liaison management, booking, all of that kind of stuff. It kind of all just fits together in a little jigsaw puzzle. It's tricky. You've got to maintain multiple competencies in the arts in order to go where the budget is, and I've managed to do that for the most part, but photography's been a consistent thing the whole way through. And this project for me is important because it enables me to basically take the credit for the work that I've generated across that time, share it, make sure the images go where they're most meaningful, where they're most appreciated. Because there are artists who would have no clue that I've got cracking shots of them, and in their prime, playing great shows, and some of them have got kids who don't understand how cool their parents are, things like that.
Or at least were.
Or at least were, yeah. So look, there's a heap of cultural content there that I think belongs where it carries the most meaning. And this is kind of an exercise in just getting it out there, not just getting everything backed up to the cloud and organised in a way that can be documented culturally, but also into the brains of the people who were there and who will appreciate